Hey everybody, how's it going? I thought I'd just come on live. I don't know who's gonna come on, but I just had to. Hopefully, when you're watching this, either if you join us live or on the playback, you can hear it. So if you do join live, let me know that you can hear me. So I just watched Borg versus McEnroe. All right, we got somebody on. I just watched Borg versus McEnroe, and I wanted to come on and do a movie review first because I was very skeptical. I was very skeptical. If you're out there, let me know if you've seen the movie and what you think. We can have a nice little talk on this. But I pretty much turned it on because I didn't want to, but I'm wasting time on a Sunday. And all of a sudden, Borg McEnroe popped up and said that you could watch it on YouTube. Good morning. Good morning. That you could watch it on YouTube for like $4 or something like that. And I decided, you know what? I'm in the procrastination mode, so I'm going to watch Borg McEnroe. Yes, I'm a Borg mega fan, says her. Yeah. So first of all, if you love Borg, let's get into the review so I don't waste too much time talking. Here's my impression on the movie. The guy who played Borg nailed Borg. I mean, he looked just like Borg, his accent. I mean, that was a great cast right there. And then I think every single character, even the kids who played Borg, the kid hitting against the wall, like had Borg stroke down, his look down. And then, okay, our person here who's watching said they didn't like Shia as McEnroe. And yes, this was what was going to cause me not to watch the movie in the beginning, because I'm a huge McEnroe fan. When I saw Shia LaBeouf was playing McEnroe, at first I thought, oh, that's a really good like casting, because they're both kind of crazy. But then he just looked so scrawny on the court. It just didn't really look like McEnroe, especially when McEnroe first started playing. He was kind of like puffy and chubby, had big fat legs. I mean, I'm like, this isn't not McEnroe at all. Shia LaBeouf. I mean, it's cringeworthy. And then when they showed on the previews, Shia LaBeouf kind of like hitting like McEnroe, that was cringeworthy too. I'm like, I don't want to see another tennis movie where like they reenact these points and these guys don't look like tennis players. They like the strokes are embarrassing and hard to watch. That's what most tennis movies have been to me, where it's like if you play tennis, it's hard to watch because you can tell that the players just suck and have no idea how to play. So that was my opinion going in. Like, I don't want to watch this movie because Shia LaBeouf's going to ruin it for me. The reenactment of the points are going to be embarrassing. I don't know if I can watch it without just like cringing. But since I wanted to waste time today, I'm like, all right, I'm going to put it on. And I got to tell you, I really enjoyed the movie. So if you have been like me and you've been hesitating, like, I don't want to watch this movie, I don't think I'm going to enjoy it, especially if you grew up, that first 1980 match with McEnroe versus Borg, I remember it distinctly watching that match. I remember that match. That was one of the first matches, if not the first match, that really got me hooked on tennis, that really got me like, I love tennis. I'm all in. That rivalry was just so intriguing. And I was a Mac fan, actually. But it was really cool to watch the movie and kind of, you never know how much of that stuff is true, but just to really kind of feel all the pressure Borg especially was under at that point in his life, and how the love of the game was kind of like he was really struggling with that going into the tournament, and put a lot of pressure on himself that he wanted to win the 5th Wimbledon. It's not really a spoiler alert, right? If you know tennis, I'm not really spoiling anything for you. Borg wins the match. We know that, but just the feelings going up through that whole year and into the match, just what Borg was struggling with mentally, I found very, very interesting. And I think we've all who've gotten into tennis all feel that way at some point. Like, I'm really not in love with tennis. I like love, the love at some point with tennis, I think pretty much leaves everybody at certain times. I've certainly been burned out before. So I think anybody watching the movie can kind of relate, but then we can't relate because, who's won 5 Wimbledons and 5 Frenches in a row? Or did he win? I know he won 5 in a row. I think he won total 6 French Opens. So I just found it interesting. I liked it. I even found the hitting tolerable. It wasn't fantastic, but it was a lot better than the previews that you see on YouTube. When they show the previews on YouTube and they show like McEnroe or Shia LaBeouf going for a couple shots, it's kind of hard to watch. But the way they actually did it in the movie, and they show a lot of tennis, it actually came off okay. And also, there's a guy who plays Vitas in the movie, Vitas Gerulaitis. He was classic. I mean, he looked dead on him. I mean, they did a pretty good job casting. And the way they subtly built the rivalry between McEnroe and Borg was really cool. And then the ending, how they kind of gained that respect from each other through that match. And the pictures after the movie, to me, are almost worth watching. It really brought me back to that time of when I was a kid, really getting into tennis. So, okay. Oh, we have somebody else. I watched it too. Great movie. I didn't really know Borg before, not my generation. Yeah, I mean, so it was really cool. And the guy who played Borg just seemed very Borg-like. Like his face, I mean, that guy nailed Borg. He really nailed Borg. I would love to know what Borg thought of the movie, how accurate, like would he agree that he was really struggling with tennis that much and struggling to enjoy it and struggling to get himself motivated to go out there and play his matches. And that was kind of what they were kind of alluding to. And I don't really think I can spoil the movie. I think I can only encourage you to watch it, but it really showed how Borg was struggling to get up for the matches in that final Wimbledon. Like his heart was half in it, and just didn't seem like a very happy person at the time, even though he was pretty much unbeatable at that point, which I found very interesting. And I just thought it was really cool. I thought it needed more McEnroe's character to balance it out. I thought it was too focused on Borg and couldn't get behind his motivation. Joe, who just commented, I agree with you. I thought that it certainly was more focused on Borg. Okay. And somebody said Connors didn't look like him. Connors was probably the worst casting thing. I don't know what they were doing to his hair, and I don't think it would have been that hard to recreate the Connors hair. I think the guy who actually played Connors could have pulled it off with his face, but they messed up his hair. That did not look like his haircut. So I agree with you. I think the guy who played Connors was probably the one cast where it's like way off. But when you really think about it, though, of course, I would have liked more McEnroe too. But the movie was about Borg. It was more about Borg. Tom says Connors looked awful. Yeah, Connors looked awful. It was a terrible casting of Connors. And you're right. I was expecting to see more of the McEnroe side of the story, but it was really about Borg's journey. This movie, just so you know, if you do watch it, it's more about Borg than McEnroe. McEnroe is definitely the supporting actor in the movie. Borg is the main character, and what he was going through mentally to try and win that 5th Wimbledon in a row. And when you really think about what an accomplishment that is, looking back to win 5 in a row, and it really captured how much pressure he was under. And when you think about that, and then you think about all the winning that Rafael Nadal and Federer do, and I think if it tortures anybody more mentally, it'd be interesting to know who gets more down and more unhappy. Federer just seems more like a happy, more well-balanced person. I could see Nadal maybe going through and relating more to Borg than Federer, because Federer seems to have such a good life balance. But it would be really interesting to be able to have Nadal and here's a couple things I would love to see. I'd love to see Borg and McEnroe watch that movie together and then give their thoughts on what they thought and if they were really thinking that. And then I would love to see Rafa and Federer watch that movie together and find out how much they could relate to the rivalry and the feelings and the pressure and the respect. It would be really, really cool. There was a scene where you could see Borg's coach and in the window, I knew they were stepping on the rackets. Yes, that's right. That was another. I mean, they had so many cool little backstories, like rumors that you heard of, as far as like Borg's resting heart rate being so low, and then Borg stringing his racket so tight, and they'd step on him in the room at night. They reenacted a lot of that stuff, which I thought was cool. Like all the stuff that you've always heard, and you thought, well, did they really do that kind of thing? Is that really what happened? And so that was kind of cool. And there was another scene where it showed McEnroe in his hotel room, and he was basically drawing out the whole draw as the tournament went on, which I thought was pretty neat too. Borg in title Europe was Borg. Yeah. Okay. In the US, it's Borg versus McEnroe. Yes, right. Because it was definitely about Borg. And like I said, I wasn't expecting much. I was expecting to maybe hate it, and I ended up enjoying it more than I thought I would. So again, here are my takeaways. The guy who played Borg killed it. Shia LaBeouf, who I thought he's not going to be able to pull this off. He looks ridiculous when he's hitting a tennis ball in the previews. He's too thin. It's kind of hard to really do Mac. That's a tough role. I thought the more the movie went on, I accepted his role, and I thought he did a good job. Vitas was classic. The backstories of Borg and his coach and his wife and everything, I thought very interesting. The tennis was a lot more watchable than I thought it would be, and I thought it was ambitious about how that final match, the scene of the tennis was probably like 10 minutes straight in a row. Yeah, so Wendy's going to watch this movie now. Yeah, so that's my recommendation, guys. Watch the movie. I always wondered, well, where am I going to see this movie? I'd been seeing the previews now for like a year. I'm like, where are we going to see this movie? Is it ever going to come out in theaters? And you can actually rent it on YouTube for like $4. So if you're bored today, if you have chores that you don't feel like doing, like you're like, I'm a little bored, or I got to do these things and I don't feel like it, it's a great movie to watch if you love tennis, especially if you grew up in that era and you want to just kind of go down memory lane and feel nostalgic. Watch the movie. Okay. I see that we're getting some thumbs up coming in. Thank you, guys. It's free on Amazon if you have Amazon Prime, and I do have Amazon Prime. Wendy, how did I not know this before? You're telling me too little, too late. Anyway, that's good for everybody else to know. So Wendy's saying, if you have Amazon Prime, you can watch the movie 100% free after I wasted my money on YouTube. But no, it wasn't a waste. And I love YouTube anyway. You know, I'm always out here on YouTube. So I'm happy to support YouTube. I'm a YouTube fan. If you like this, subscribe to the channel. Give it a like. My name is Peter Freeman with Crunch Time Coaching. I usually do a bunch of instructional videos. Nadal's a machine. I mean, Nadal is the Borg of clay, right? I mean, he's even several levels above what Borg did on clay. So Nadal is a freak show for sure. But think about that. Borg retired when he was 26. How many French Opens? Because yes, McEnroe was just starting to beat him on the hard courts on grass. But how many French Opens? Let's take a guess. How many French Opens would the Borg have had on clay? He could have maybe easily had 10 or more. So it is a shame that Borg cut his career short because he was just struggling to like it. But, you know, I think when you're really struggling to like something that much, it is hard to go on and it is hard to win. And maybe he would have found a second wind of love and passion, enjoyment, but he was just really struggling to get there out on the court, it seemed. And so it was kind of interesting. And I think he kind of admired McEnroe, that McEnroe had the new passion and fire that he once had and that he felt was leaving him, and he just had enough, you know. So pretty cool. Anyway, that's it, guys. Like this, subscribe. I'll wait around for some final questions. Any more questions on Borg McEnroe? Again, my final reaction is watch it. I had mixed emotions how I was going to watch it. You can watch it on the internet. You don't have to go figure out where it's playing in your local theaters because it's probably not. And I thought it was worth it if you love tennis. So thumbs up. I'll give it a double thumbs up. and maybe we'll get some more tennis movies. We definitely have to have a Fed Nadal movie now, right? Fed Nadal movie. Yeah. Okay. Everybody have a great day, and we'll see you later.